rate's at 2.44%. Insane. What's SPY doing? Oh, man. Oh, how's it going, you guys? What's cracking? Can you guys hear me? Let's get a yes, or thumbs up, or the two wavy hands, my favorite.
And let's see if they can hear me now. I think they should be able to hear me. What's up, guys? Good morning to all of you. We'll be beginning in around 5 minutes. Oh, Chauvin made it. How's it going? How's it going? And Lindsay's in here too, Krisha.
How's it going, Lindeka? Gervin? What's cracking?
How's the music, guys? Too loud? Too soft? Too low?
Give us a thumbs up on the audio. We're trying to hit a sweet spot.
Crypto markets rather boring today. Not much happening, so... Actually, guys, there's a lot happening. Let me turn down the music a tad bit. How's that? Yeah, so there's actually a lot happening. I was hoping to have a quick stream today, but I doubt that's going to be possible. So what I recommend you guys do is go get some refreshments, get comfy, because we'll be going over a few charts today. A lot happening in the macro markets as well. Something's really interesting happening at the moment that has me kind of scratching my head. But nonetheless, good signs across the board for everyone in the crypto space at the very least. But I would still recommend caution over here, even with this break. What are your thoughts, Krisha?
So the break looks pretty... Okay, how about this? Price action is looking strong. It's looking strong. However, I don't like... I want a bit more confirmation. I want to see a bit more strength on the higher time frames, more importantly, because while the weekly, I mean, we closed well, but like just about, you know, we just about made it.
Yeah. The weekly
and also,
was...
like, I'm seeing US oil. I'm looking at oil rally and looking at the bond market sell off even more.
How's oil doing, by the way? I haven't actually checked that today.
You know what? Like, we actually opened above. I mean, I was looking at the most recent weekly candle, which opened today, and it opened above 110. This opened at 112.
If
we get bought up from here, oil rallies again. Like, I think we're going back to 126.
So it opened above the level that you were discussing last week, and over the weekend as well. You and I were having a conversation, and you had a level in mind. Was that the 134 level?
For oil?
Yeah.
I had it at 110, so that was the region of resistance I was looking for oil to close over in this week, on this current week. And we did that. However, we're seeing it right now. But if we start seeing oil actually get a bid here, I think it rallies even further. That would be something, eh?
So oil trades over the weekend, or you mean it opened over your level?
It opened.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
It opened over 110.
Okay, you had me confused there for a second, but that
it opened over 110.
That's so interesting, Krisha. Okay.
Yeah. It's not making it easy. Like, the macro landscape right now is looking.
I think I'm beginning to get an idea of what the market participants might be playing at the moment. So yeah, let's go through the charts together as a community and brainstorm together as a community. You guys share your thoughts as well, and we'll try to figure out what the opportunities over here and how we can take advantage and profit from what's going on in the markets in a prudent and cautious way, because I advise caution. It's definitely time to be paying attention. All right. Because even if you're cautious, you can make a lot of money. Because we'll explain how. Okay, all right. Are we ready to start, Kusha, or should we wait a tad bit more?
I mean, I'm good to go. How many people do we have? And guys, don't forget to smash those likes. 45 watching, 21 likes.
If we get 30 likes, we'll begin. Let's go, guys. 10 more likes. 10 more likes. That's all we're asking for. Smash the likes, and make sure that you let us know in the chat too that you hit the like button, or it doesn't count. It's got to be double liked. Double liked.
Double like. Okay, wow, we got to 30 real fast.
Oh wow, 33.
37. Oh yay, let's get it. They are ready to begin.
Okay, so now what you guys got to do is create a new account and like the video again. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's go. We're going to be starting off with the dashboard. Kusha, I'm going to be asking for your thoughts on a few things as well. So I'm going to switch on over to the dashboard right over here. And I'm starting on the Mango view, because I do want to go over these key metrics that we keep an eye on over here. US 10-year sitting at 2.5%. I want to draw all of your recollection, or rather, I want you guys to recollect what we were talking about all the way back last year, right? Where I said, guys, no one's talking about it just yet, but the US 10-year and even the US 30-year, both of these metrics over there we're looking at are going to be the talk of the day not when I say very soon, I mean in months, right? Mango thinks in the high time frames, and what do you know? All of these are the talking points today in the macro markets, the US 10-year, the US 30-year, and Dixie as well. And you guys are seeing what kind of impact it's having even on crypto. That's why we added it on the dashboard, because this affects everything. Sitting at 2.5%, while US 30-year is sitting at 2.6. Krisha, I posted a chart in the seed chat earlier this morning that showed essentially the 3-year, right? The US 3-year is now flipped the US 10-year. So the yield curve is essentially inverting on the 3 to 10, right?
Oh, isn't that like a red flag?
That is a long-term red flag signal, right? Which is sitting in line with our thesis that we had over here that either around September to October things are going to get a little bit antsy, or maybe towards November, December, right? So either way, we need to be paying attention. We need to be cautious and not get too bullish leading towards the end of the year. Keep our eyes out on what's happening. Now, to those of you who are new to Mango, let me just go ahead and explain what this actually means, US 10-year and the US 30-year. These are essentially the yields that you're getting on your bonds that mature 10 years from today and 30 years from today, respectively. At the moment, you guys can see that the US 10-year is giving you 2.5%, and the US 30-year is giving you 2.6%, right? The difference between the two is barely anything, right? If you had to plot it on the chart, you would have basically plotting them both side by side. That's what they mean when you hear people say the yield curve is flattening, right? You'll keep hearing that over and over. It means that there's barely any difference between the shorter durations and the longer durations, right? And over here, in this context, at the very least, between the 10-year and the 30-year, the 10-year is the shorter duration, and the 30-year is the longer duration. Now, this is why this is so important, guys. For the past 20 years, the 10-year yield has been kept. Well, did I say 10 years now? I meant more like 30 to 20, 20 to 30 years. The 10-year yield has been kept artificially low, primarily because the US government did not want people saving their money in the bond market. Okay, the US 10-year is essentially considered a savings account, right? They don't want people putting their money in there and getting yield from there, because then they are less likely to put their money into the stock market and other risk assets. But now the market is saying, F you guys, we are going to be selling those bonds regardless of what you guys try to do, what you guys tell us, transitionary inflation or not, because we don't believe that inflation is going to be kept under control. So this is a sell-off of the bond market that we're seeing over here aggressively, while the 30-year is actually being bought, right? Relatively. So it is going up, yes, but not as aggressively as the US 10-year. So people basically are saying that we don't have faith in the shorter term prospects of the market. Kisha, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm torn right now. There's just like so much going on in the markets. I don't have anything. I don't have anything to add to that. Like, I'm just taking the information as we go right now. There's just so much unfolding, and it's unfolding very, very fast. Even these numbers can start flipping. What are your thoughts? I think you are more sort of read on the current events, even in terms of the bond market and just the flow of money right now.
Well, the big picture is being told with, if you just focus on US 10-year, US 30-year, Dixie, as well as Bitcoin, right? This section of the mango view over here, it's telling us the story. Okay, US 10-year is going up. Okay, so essentially yield is going up. The market is saying, hey, we demand more yield by selling their bonds off. But at the same time, Dixie is going up as well. So they're buying dollars. So they're selling off their bonds into dollars. But then you would expect risk assets to go down, correct? Usually you'd expect that. But you're seeing Bitcoin go up. You're seeing SPY do relatively well. It had a really, really good close towards the end of last week. So what exactly is going on? This is, in my opinion, the market saying, wait a minute, we want to protect against inflation. The market is beginning to get really, really concerned about commodity prices inflating, oil prices inflating. You just mentioned to me at the beginning of the stream that oil basically opened above your key level, right? Well, that's lining up now with this story over here, that the market is concerned about that, Krisha. Last week, I told you guys that the real tightening is not going to, the real Fed is no longer the Fed. Right, the real Fed is what the oil market is doing, right? The price of oil is the real tightening on the rest of the world, not just the USA, right? So while oil prices go up, everything's going to go up, right? Regardless of the Fed, of what the Fed does, regardless. So the market is, I think, okay, coming to that realization, and it's being shown on the charts at the moment, and everything that we've been talking about over the past few weeks, where we said, hey, gold will lead the rally, right? Just like last time, but then Bitcoin will catch up and overtake gold. I think we're beginning to see that as well, where the market is saying, okay, you know what? We want to protect against inflation by buying up commodities and buying up Bitcoin. Okay, that's my read at the moment. Are there any holes that you can poke into that? Am I not explaining something properly for the audience? Feel free to ask me questions, and I'll try.
So the dollar index is going up right now. So do you think that it could be like an equal thing where people are not feeling too confident about, the future, at least by looking at the US 10-year yields? So there's clearly a massive sell-off on the 10-year bonds, right? Do you think that people are sort of torn between, okay, should I just spare my dollars for a bigger dip because of what's happening out there, or do you think they're sort of taking that and just immediately putting it into risk on assets like Bitcoin and even SPY for that matter? Have you looked at S&P today? Like,
yeah,
look at that freaking candle. It's insane.
I think this is going to be a very, very it's going to be a roller coaster kind of ride, because it's so reflexive right now in the world. What people need to understand that the fact that the dollar is going to go up is going to put a lot of pressure on all the dollar denominated debt globally, okay? And that's going to put a squeeze on the dollar. And a squeeze on the dollar is essentially going to cause a liquidity crisis on all risk assets. And that could be very, very temporary, where it happens really quick with a up move on the dollar that is a big... Okay, you know what, Kusha? We're getting ahead of ourselves. I have the charts ready, okay? So we'll get to the dollar very, very soon. What I want to talk about first, before we get on to the more complex details, is let's lay out the charts for everyone, and then we'll come back to this very question, all right? Because we're getting ahead of ourselves, okay? Let's start with Bitcoin, okay? This is exciting. It's definitely very, very exciting, everything that's going on over here. And again, people will do well to pay attention during this period. If you guys have any questions before we start with Bitcoin, let me know, guys. Any questions whatsoever? Alvaro says, why is the US dollar going up? Shouldn't the current situation make people put their money somewhere else? protected from inflation? Yes
I
and
have a
no.
yeah.
Yeah, go on,
Yeah,
Krisha.
so I have a my input on that. I don't know if you want me to answer that right now, Sean. Should I?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so what I think, Alvaro, is so I think the thing about U.S. Treasuries is that anyone can use U.S. Anyone can get their hands on U.S. Treasuries. So we have this foreign denominated debt. Like there are a lot of foreign countries out there that actually hold U.S. Treasuries. Right now, that rates are going up, as well as it's not just U.S. Treasuries, but they're also in debt. They have U.S. dollar denominated debt. If rates are going up right now, as you can see with the U.S. 10-year yields as well as the U.S. 30-year yields, there's a squeeze on their debt. So I feel like they're trying to get their hands on as much U.S. dollars right now, driving up the Dixie, driving up driving up
Yeah,
Dixie,
yeah,
and just to be able to service their loans right now because of the current interest rates.
yep, exactly.
Does that make sense, Sean?
Yeah. Okay. So
I think I don't
so
know.
So you did a good job. You did a good job. Put simply, Alvaro, the first step is to understand that the treasuries are selling off, right? Remember, we explained it to you guys over the past few weeks now. We've been explaining that when US 10-year yields are going up, it means that the US 10 bond market is actually selling off, right? So when they sell it, what are they doing really? They're selling it into what? They're selling it into US dollars because these treasuries are denominated in dollars. So when those treasuries are sold off, people are essentially buying dollars de facto. Then with those dollars, because you guys need to understand that the treasury market is a huge market, like in the hundreds of trillions. If I remember correctly, I think it's $240 trillion or more. So when they sell those dollars, they got to allocate it, right? They got to allocate it in certain assets. They might be thinking, okay, we're going to hold some, we're going to put some in Bitcoin, we're going to put some in oil, we're going to put some in wheat, we're going to buy a basket of commodities because our current goal is to protect against inflation, okay, and just survive through this period. And that's when you start seeing all of these inflation assets, or rather assets that are linked to inflation at the very least, even if through a speculative play like Bitcoin, is going to do well. That's what I'm seeing, Alvaro. So with that, I think we should start with the charts now because people have been waiting for some Bitcoin analysis. Krisha, geez, so there's a lot to talk about. We're looking at Mango View over here, and I want to start off with something you and I have been talking about for a while now. Just going to go ahead and click the SMA section right over here on the Mango View, turning on the 10 SMA and the 200 moving average all the way down over here. But Krisha, the 10 SMA that we reclaimed last week, what are your thoughts on this?
Freaking powerful. But so I was looking at that. So we have also the monthly close in around 3 days, right? But the weekly, Sean, that one level that I was sort of looking at came in at around, let me just pull that up. I was on Dixie just now. Yeah, that level that I was looking at came in at around $47,000, right? And right now we're hovering at around 47.2K. The thing is that I sort of drew a line there. So that's what I meant by, we closed well. But
just
the
at
level
it.
that crucial, that just at it,
Yeah.
it just about made it. So I'm sort of looking at the lower time frames and how price is sort of performing on that 47K region. And if I'm looking at that, it's holding and it's holding well, it's holding strong. I think Bitcoin still has a bit more oomph. But I want to see more on this level. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin right here?
Well, we kept it super simple, right, over the past weeks. When we got that first signal from gold rallying, we said that, okay, this candle over here, the week of Feb, the wick that Bitcoin pulled in, we'll be looking for that wick to fill up, especially if Bitcoin closes a weekly candle over 10 SMA, or over the 10 SMA. Now, it took a couple of weeks to play out, but this is the Mango way. It takes some time for our trades to play out, but when they do, they play out with conviction, right? We filled that wick, Krisha, but we closed above it, right? We closed above it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the 21 EMA and the 55. That's the next thing we were looking for Bitcoin to do, right? Close above the 21 EMA. That was our resistance level that the EMA was holding for us ever since we lost it back over here in 2021, end of November. Okay.
Right.
We have reclaimed the 21 EMA. More importantly, right, the 55 EMA as well that has been holding price throughout this ascending triangle structure has been reclaimed, and with conviction, because, hey, you guys can see that it's actually underneath the 21 EMA. So those are the good signs over here. Really, really, really good signs. We closed well above it. But does that mean you just long this? What are your thoughts?
No. I want to see...
That's actually...
I
That's a good answer.
would...
Because the whole story, Krisha, was something else that we were looking at. And that is where everything comes together over here. And that's why the next few candles are going to be very, very important. And that's the Ichimoku. I'm turning on the Tenkin and the Kijun now. We've been talking about how I do not want to see this Tenkin and Kijun cross bearish. I want to see the bulls defend it. And the bulls will be able to defend it only if they, at the very least, test the Tenkin and the Kijun. So this was the base for us looking for that big move towards the upside. Everything else was... all of these moves were basically the lower time frame moves leading towards the Tenkin Kijun cross, because that Ichimoku was our big signal. We knew that this was likely to come, the Tenkin Kijun test, right? The bulls are either going to defend it, and the bears are then going to have to act by selling into it. So that's going to be the key play, guys. Watch out for 50,000 to 49,000 to either get tested or rather to get tested, then reclaimed by the bulls, or rejected by the bears. Thoughts on that, Kusha?
I agree. So, but now I'm looking at this from a multi-time frame perspective. Right?
Okay.
So now we have the Ichimoku cloud. Now we are looking at the weekly Ichimoku cloud, right? However, of course, that is in 1 week. We have another major candle that comes in 3 days, which is the monthly close. I'm saying that if we manage to close over the 10 SMA on the monthly time frame, which I believe comes in at around, we're well over that right now. Actually, comes in at around $46,000, $46,900, $46,100. But anyways, we're currently living over that. I'm saying that if we manage to close over that in the next 3 days, that could be alluding to something a lot more stronger for the bulls.
I don't want to talk about the monthly just yet. I want us to focus on the weekly, and then we'll switch to the monthly time frame in a bit. So,
okay.
Right, because I have to keep switching tabs. Then I'll be
okay. So right now, okay. So we test it's about what you just said in terms of really testing that TP.
Okay, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Seeing some strength on that region, seeing a bit of seeing some bullish strength in terms of price actually holding in this range. I want to see price hold over the $46,000 range, and I think that cross can be avoided.
Okay. I see what you're saying, that if we close above that monthly 10 SMA that I'm about to show on the next chart, actually, then the bulls may actually avoid closing that, or rather, they could avoid the Tenkin closing underneath the Kijun. Correct?
Yes, that would be mitigated.
Okay,
right,
cool.
That would be avoided, and that's why I'm using the monthly 10 as a sort of a precursor to what could potentially happen on the weekly chart, because now we have to wait another 7 days before this one closes.
Okay, cool. Right? I'm about to show the monthly, but before I do that, I just want to quickly turn off all of these SMAs and EMAs that we have over here, or rather the SMAs and the Ichimoku, and I want to quickly show people that if you turn on your swing lows and swing highs over here on the dashboard, you're going to see that with this weekly candle, guys, Bitcoin has taken out both the previous lower highs, essentially ending the downtrend on the weekly time frame, right? That squeeze has ended. Okay, that squeeze has ended. Now the question is, we have one higher low. Can we put in a second higher low and a higher high confirmed on the dashboard? That would start a weekly uptrend. Okay, that would start a weekly uptrend. That'd be bullish. Okay, so I think I'll wrap it up over there for the Mango view. I want to quickly show the Mango. I'll keep the Mango dashboard for tomorrow's video. I want to go ahead and show Krisha's monthly time frame now on the dashboard, or rather on trading view. Okay, Krisha, here's the monthly. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the monthly 10 SMA. I think it's this one right over here. Okay, yeah, monthly 10 SMA. All right, here it is. We've been talking about this little simple indicator all the way since the end of the year, right? That was a big signal. We said that if we close underneath this 10 SMA, Mango is going to be looking for Bitcoin to test this juncture all the way down over here at 35,000. There was so much confluence. We had the Kijun, the Tenkin, the 21 EMA. Hell, we even have the Mango dynamic come in at that level. Well, we did that. that ended up being a massive buy opportunity for the long-term traders. And we told people, hey, this Mango's doing this at the very least. Mango's going to be buying for the long term because it is monthly levels. Now, Bitcoin is threatening to close above that 10 SMA again, right? So this is the level you were just talking about. Do you want to go over that again with people?
Yeah, so the monthly 10 SMA is that level that really even helped us determine the $35,000 test, right, that we recently just had in the month of Jan. As soon as we lost 10 SMA, we both postulated that price is likely going to come down to the 21 EMA at the very least, and we actually got that test that came in at around $36,000. And historically, if you guys just follow the chart, look at price action against the monthly 10 SMA, you'll see that it has been a great guide in really determining whether or not we're going to see that next major trend change, that trend shift from bullish to bearish or vice versa. Right, so now what we're seeing here is that, okay, you know what, we lost the 10 SMA back in the month of December, came down 21 EMA, now we're threatening to take out 10 SMA once again. Every time we've done that in the past, this has been a good sort of bullish posture for Bitcoin. And more often than not, actually, I think it's 100% so far. Yeah, okay, not 100%, but close.
Almost, yeah.
We've rallied. Right? Every time we've taken it out, we've managed to, Bitcoin has rallied from then on. So I'm saying that 10 SMA once again is going to be clutch. If we actually close over the 10 SMA, then sure, we could get a pullback into the 10 SMA or hell, even slightly underneath the 10 SMA, giving us that next higher low on the weekly time frame that Sean just spoke about, right? We get that, and we could very well see a rally getting into the month of April, May, and then I'm looking at 60K once again. And it would, I'm not sure if we break from there, but Bitcoin would look good at that point, because if you're just looking at the monthly, Sean, we actually managed to get up to $60,000. What does this look like suddenly? It looks like a beautiful ascending triangle that sort of marks out the flag of a bull flag.
Yep, exactly.
You got a pole, you got the flag, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful chart.
Yep. Ooh, things are getting exciting. Things are getting exciting. And I want to add a little bit onto that, Krisha, that adds up, or rather sits in line and has confluence with your thesis of us basically testing the top of the range over here. And I'm going to be pulling up the oscillator template I have. And again, you guys can pull this up yourselves as well. Over here, what we're looking at, guys, is the bullish divergence, but the potential bullish divergence that we talked about months ago that has now officially triggered into bullish divergence, right? We were looking at this months ago, and now it finally triggered. Bullish divergence has triggered. There's a higher probability now, increased probability, that we go ahead and test all the way to 61,668, right? I'll be looking for that test. And now, Kusha, this too lines up with what you said about the bulls perhaps deterring that bearish weekly TK cross, right? So I'm really looking for that, Kusha, because I'm going to take us back now to the weekly on TradingView over here. And let me just go ahead and make the chart a tad bit neater for you guys. This should be good, though. This should be good. I'll turn off the EMA as well. Okay, Krisha, if we do cross bearish, right, on the TK, I'm not going to be looking for any big continuation move until price, at the very least, recrosses bullish TK. Because if it does, right, if it does a double bullish TK cross above the cloud, that's going to be one of the most ultra bullish signals you can get, and that really sits in line with that ascending triangle on the monthly that you talked about. Right, because you have a double bullish TK cross on the weekly with a massive structure that is playing out on the higher time frame, which essentially means that this is the bigger move that is coming. But until then, right, I'm going to be a little bit cautious, guys, because keep in mind, we have a breakdown point over here at around, I would say, the breakdown point's around 59,000. Yeah, 59,000. Yeah, you could use these horizontals right over here, which is very similar to the breakdown point that we had leading into this rally at around 53,000. So not here, I'll put it somewhere around, somewhere around here. So that's going to be the key level now, Krisha, around 59,000 to 60,000. Until Bitcoin actually starts living above there, I would ask people to be a bit more cautious. Do you agree?
Yes. I would agree. I would agree with that.
Am I being a bit too cautious over here? Because remember, I I have all these bullish indicators going off, and I've been telling you guys all about it. But we have to look at the entire macro situation, guys, and understand that the prospects for the end of the year, at the very least, might get a little bit volatile, and I want the community to be safe here. Don't get a little bit too carried away. That's all I'm trying to say.
So I think if the monthly close is over the 10, I say that the posturing for Bitcoin at that point is bullish. Okay, you gotta call a spade a spade. Like, it's looking good at that point. However, as far as that 50K region is concerned, it's only up until we actually take that region out as resistance will I even consider proper trend trades on Bitcoin.
Yep.
And I feel like there are a lot of things alluding to that. But Sean, I just had a bit fun. I had a bit of fun on my chart just now, and I'm like, all right, this looks like a bull flag, right? Can we all agree on that?
Are you looking at the weekly or the monthly?
The weekly.
Okay.
The weekly, the monthly. I mean, you can see the bull flag irrespective of what time frame, whether it's the weekly or the monthly, right? And I took the I took the measured move of the pole of the bull flag, marked it on the break.
And
those numbers get big. They get real big real fast. We're looking at around $320,000.
Okay, you know what? That may actually line up with the next chart that I want to show. And again, this is another I told you so moment where I'll be pulling up a BLX chart now, guys, which gives us more price action through the history of Bitcoin. And I'm looking at the 12-month chart. Sure, you can go ahead and switch on over to that too to catch up with us. So I'm looking at BLX, the 12-month chart, which is essentially the yearly chart. And towards the end of the year, we talked about two indicators, right? The monthly 10 SMA, and then we talked about the 12-month chart where we said, hey guys, even though we're expecting a pullback if we close underneath the monthly 10 SMA, through a long-term perspective, that's going to be the buy opportunity that you're looking for through a long-term perspective, not your leverage play. Why? Because historically, Bitcoin has had only 2 red candles on the yearly chart, on the 12-month chart. What does that mean? It means that the probability is on your side that if you buy towards the end of the year, or rather, sorry, if you buy at the beginning of the year, by the end of the year, you're going to be in a profit. That's what this chart is telling you, right?
Right.
Because there's only 2 red candles. So the probability is on your side that if you buy at the beginning of the year, towards the end of the year, you're likely going to be in profit. So that monthly 10 SMA being lost by Bitcoin was actually that big get ready for your long-term buy opportunity. Because by the end of the year, there is a strong probability that you're going to be in profit. Bitcoin has had only 2 red candles. And now, what do you know, guys? With this current move, with this current break on the weekly time frame, Bitcoin has flipped this candle green. We were sitting red with this candle through the beginning of the year, guys, for like, well, keep in mind, we have 9 months and 4 days to confirm this thesis I have. But again, it's a probability thesis that has worked out well so far. So let's see how this plays out. But keep in mind what's going on over here, because we have a bull flag breakout on the yearly time frame that we talked about, by the way, at the beginning of 2021, right? When we had this candle over here, right? This big break over here. I was drawing out this bull flag. I may actually have it drawn out. No, I don't. But yeah, that lines up with Krisha's theory of 300,000. Oof. But yeah, I don't want to get excited for that, guys. That's good fun to have, but that could play out over years, right? This is a yearly chart that you're looking at, which is why we talked about, hey, for your long-term buys, that dip after the monthly close is going to be a buy opportunity. Working out so far, but you cannot leverage trade that kind of thing because you could get liquidated before the trade actually plays out, right? So keep in mind. All right, so Krisha, that's the yearly. Do you have any thoughts on this before I?
Once again, guys, I think we keep this very, very simple. So Sean just spoke about that weekly that Ichimoku cloud, right? The TK cross, which is sort of threatening to cross bearish right now. So for that to get mitigated, once again, I'm looking at that monthly close. If the monthly closes over the 10 SMA, we start seeing strength there. I think that bearish cross can be mitigated. Like, I think we can avoid it altogether. So I'll be looking now next at how the monthly closes. We close well on the 10 SMA, monthly 10. I'm gonna be leaning bullish from then on.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the bullish divergence that has finally triggered too. We've been waiting patiently for this for a long time. So that's the macro picture, guys. We talked about the weekly, the monthly, and the 12-month, and we also talked about a few things on on the actual traditional market side. Now we're going to come back to that. I just want to quickly go over some of the lower time frames, and by lower time frames I'm referring to the 12-hour and the daily time frame. Now over here we're looking at Bitcoin on the 12-hour time frame. Krisha, I'm looking at the Mango Dynamic. By the way, this is the new version of the Mango Dynamic. You guys can see the cool little nifty information box that we have in the corner. As you guys can see on the 12-hour time frame, we've been bullish for the past few candles now. We put in a nice bull flag, Krisha, right above the dynamic, right? And now that wasn't maybe that wasn't a strong enough signal for you guys to get in, but if you combine everything else that we were talking about in terms of the Ichimoku, had a beautiful signal on the 12-hour time frame that we were talking about over here. Again, shout out to Claudia for, I was going to say Claudia again, Krisha, but yeah, shout out to Claude for noticing the signature on Bitcoin as well on the 12-hour Ichimoku, the fake out underneath the 200 moving average, and then blowing past, right, for continuation. We saw exactly that. Oops. Yeah. So what's the play, guys? Bullish cloud, price squeezing between the 200 moving average, Tenkin, Kijun, 21 EMA, right over there, and you're looking for continuation, right? However, we were seeing some resistance overhead on the daily time frame, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. Oops, this is the 3-day. Let me just pull this. My bad. Yeah, so on the daily time frame, Bitcoin did have resistance right overhead on the Mango Dynamic. Well, Krisha, we have officially closed above that resistance, and now we have tempo activated as well. What are your thoughts on the daily? We've talked a lot about the 12-hour here on Mango, but we've not spent too much time on the daily other than this resistance level that we have just claimed.
So the daily is in a very, very interesting posture right now, right? Because I think we can all agree that Bitcoin is looking good. It's looking bullish even on the daily time frame. We've had consecutive green candles as well. I'm looking at the dynamic. Dynamic is also bullish right now. So it's looking good. We have tempo, Sean. The tempo, like the tempo got even stronger with the latest update, right?
Yeah.
And now the tempo actually got on. Like we got a signal on the tempo back on 22nd of March. I mean, how much? Like if anyone caught the trade on the test, you're up by a good 13% already. However, check this out. If you put on your 200 simple moving average
on Bitcoin?
On the daily time frame.
Okay.
Yeah, on Bitcoin.
Hold up. This is the Ichimoku. All right, 200 moving average. Right over there. Ooh, I see. I see
Right,
what
so
you're
we
looking at.
have that, right? So we have that. So we're currently approaching a bit of resistance. So it's such an interesting juncture right now.
That lines up with the weekly Tenkin Kijun test, right?
Yeah.
And that's guys, what Kusha just mentioned over here is really important. This 200 moving average lines up with that weekly Tenkin Kijun, which is that much more imperative for the bears who act over there if they want to deter this bull run towards the top of the range, right? The bears have more incentive to be selling into that level, that 49,000 level, guys. 200 moving average, weekly Tenkin, weekly Kijun juncture, they need to defend that bearish TK cross, right? Or rather, they need to make sure that the bulls don't defend it by selling into it. So if we see the bulls actually reclaim the 200 moving average, Krisha, are you getting even more bullish then?
If we see the bulls reclaim what?
The 200 moving average.
Yes. But once again, I think I'm just gonna keep this. I'm looking at the
monthly 10
key level, the monthly 10. Just keep it simple. I feel like the monthly 10 will dictate whether or not price even takes out all of these other resistances overhead. It's never it's never failed me to give more importance to the higher time frame levels. So I'll be doing that once again because it's very easy to get chopped out, on the lower time frames. You're looking at all of these levels in combination, everything like in combination with each other, and it's going to be so easy to just get chopped out and get scared out of your position. So have that one critical level that you're like, all right, you know what, we show strength on this level. And right now that, Sean, is the lowest level. The monthly 10 SMA comes in at $46,000. Okay. 46 is that lowest level. We hold 46. I'm saying that this is looking good still.
All right. So we talked about the high levels, Krisha. You're right. We talked about lower time frames too, but we've not talked about the 3-day time frame. And I want to talk about the 3-day time frame. I'm also going to officially dub this 3-day time frame the Krisha time frame because she was the one who called out this beautiful, beautiful 3-day 200 moving average. Now, Krisha was being a lot more bearish than me over here. She was expecting this to break towards the downside and dump. And I'm like, hey, hold up. I think we're going to recover. And if we do, Krisha, your 3-day 200 moving average is going to be massively, it's going to be the massive support level that the bulls are going to be looking towards. And what are your thoughts on this 3-day 200 moving average now?
I mean, it's still holding. I mean, we're far from it, which is looking good for the bulls. So I mean, I'm not like looking at it too much right now. I'm looking at resistance breaking because we're closer to resistance than we are to support right now. So yeah, I'm looking towards
coming to the rescue. Because Krisha, you know, the 2-day failed us, the 4-day failed us, and then Krisha was like, this one morning, she's like, Krisha, Sean, this 3-day 200 moving average, I think that's going to be the determining factor. And there was this one point, I think 2 points actually, where both of these candles, Krisha, where we wicked underneath, towards the end of the candles, we were still red and it looked like we were going to close underneath. But the bulls saved the day towards the end of both those 3-day candles and closed above both times. So this was really, really interesting level. So I think you found something great over here, Krisha. It ended up being amazing.
So the 3-day 200 simple moving average is that major support. So if you're looking at the entire juncture, guys, on your higher time frames, 3-day 200 major support. And as far as overhead resistance, once again, look towards $46,000 on the monthly 10 SMA. And we should start. And right now we're living over that region, which is great. Right? We start showing additional strength even on the lower time frames. Even if we're closing dailies, 2 days, 3 days over that region, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. I'll be looking to the upside from then.
We have 10 hours for the next 3-day candle, and it's looking freaking fantastic at the moment. I want to go ahead and just give you guys a just for your memory, like we've been talking about how this Kumo twist over here, along with the Tenkin and Kijun being so wide apart, is likely going to have Bitcoin test the Kumo twist, right? Or at the very least, the Kijun flattening out, coming in over there, and Bitcoin testing it. Well, it looks like Bitcoin is making its way towards that Kijun and Kumo twist at the moment, Krisha. If we do close this candle somewhere around here, the next candle is going to open somewhere around here, and that would essentially complete that trade where we were looking for the squeeze on the 21 EMA, Tenkin, lead us towards the Kijun and the Kumo. And do you think we see some resistance over there? That's coming in at again. That again, Krisha, 49,000 is that key level that we're seeing over and over again. 49,000.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, we can see a bit of resistance there, right? I mean, we're going to find resistance on every time.
I want people... Yeah, exactly.
It's really about understanding the proper ranges. And right now I'm saying that 46 to 60K is going to be the next range. And if we close over the monthly 10, $46 to $60,000 is going to be the next major range.
Okay. So Krisha's saying that if we can close a monthly over the 10 SMA, all right, even if you guys see a rejection, this is... Okay, again, I want to reiterate this. Considering the monthly closes over the 10 SMA, which Krisha, you said is 46,000, correct? Considering the monthly closes over the 10 SMA, even if we do see a rejection at the Kijun after that, the next test of the 46,000 level, which is the monthly 10 SMA, is going to be a buy opportunity. And then the top of the range is going to be 60,000, right, Krisha?
Right.
All right. I actually see that happening. That is the breakdown point as well. Okay, cool. So Krisha, that's Bitcoin on almost all the relevant timeframes. Any final thoughts before I show a tweet from someone that actually helps us wrap up all of this that's going on with the macro markets and Bitcoin?
No final thoughts. Let's go. Let's get on with the tweet.
Are you sure?
Bitcoin must be kept simple.
All right. Any questions from the folks? It doesn't seem like it. Seems like everyone is. You over here says everyone is bullish again. That's something to be keeping an eye out on as well, because you switch on over to the Mango dashboard, guys. You're going to see that the greed rating, or rather the crypto fear greed rating, has shot up again. So be very, very careful. Now I want to go ahead and show you guys this tweet over here by Greg Foss, a fellow Canadian bingo Bitcoiner. He posted a really, really interesting chart over here that caught my attention. Unfortunately, it's not catching a lot of attention on Twitter. He says Trouble in the commercial MBS market? Always watch for credit. ... Bitcoin. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in for you guys. What are you seeing over here, Krisha? Krisha's like,
credit is in trouble. Is that what he's saying? Is he saying that credit is in trouble? Trouble in the commercial MBS? That's not good.
So
that's usually the precursor to
exactly
to a market dump, like a severe market dump.
Credit
right?
risk.
Go and short the equity. You go and short the equities.
So, yeah. So Greg Foss is a veteran in the bond market, and he's always reiterating this point that the leading signal for the equities dumping is the bond market, right? The credit markets showing weakness is when the big players, the big boys, the bond market players essentially go ahead and they hedge by shorting the equity market, right? Which is why you see him over here marking out S&P 500, which is initially going towards the upside, because the way Greg Foss explains it, and this is why I love listening to the guy, is that, hey, the amateurs are the ones who try to watch the bond market sell off, and they think, oh, I'm going to buy equities now. But when you see actual distortment, actual dislocation in the bond market, the big players are like, oh shit, to hedge this risk, we are going to go ahead and short the equity market, right? But interestingly enough, you think that, hey, if the market is simply risk on and risk off, why would he say hashtag Bitcoin, right? That's where it gets really, really interesting. He's saying, hey, wait a minute. The credit market is... Okay, wait, firstly, let me go ahead and explain what commercial MBS is, guys. Commercial MBS is essentially mortgage-backed securities. That's what it stands for, okay? Mortgage-backed securities. What are mortgage-backed securities? Well, put very, very simply, it's a curation, or rather a bundle of everyone's mortgages, right? A bunch of people's mortgages put together. And if I buy a mortgage-backed security, I'll essentially be getting a yield based on that bundle of mortgages that other people have, right? So let's think about the USA market. Everyone's mortgages are bundled into a MBS, and the yield that they are paying the bank, or rather the interest that they are paying the bank, comes to the mortgage-backed security holders. So that's your MBS. So if people are essentially saying, or rather over here, what you're seeing on the charts, I'll go ahead and pull it up on the actual charts, guys. Give me a second. This is not it. Why is this not log? What the hell? Okay. I think it's C. What's the ticker? Let me just go ahead and find the ticker. Ticker is CMBPS, yeah. CMBPS, BS. Okay. So, yeah. So this is essentially tracking the mortgage-backed security market. It's an index, right? It's an ETF. And what we're seeing over here is this dump. We're seeing this dump, which is essentially telling us that the mortgage-backed security holders are like, F it, we are not holding this. We don't consider this a safe asset anymore. Usually, you would consider this a safe asset. And these tend to sell off when people are feeling like, oh my God, the markets are actually going to go to shit. And you can see that's exactly what happened in March, in the COVID March crisis, right? Now we're seeing the same thing happen again, right? Which is giving us a indication or a representation of the market participants' current sentiment. They don't have a lot of faith in the current market conditions. But Krisha, going back to Greg Foss's tweet, he's saying hashtag Bitcoin. And what do you know? Bitcoin is actually rallying. Why is that? Any thoughts?
No. No, I don't have any thoughts on that. Why?
Okay, so essentially, Greg Foss has always had this theory. He still has this thesis that Bitcoin is going to be considered the equivalent of credit default risk, right? It's underpriced credit default risk. And what exactly is credit default risk? It's essentially you buying insurance on the possibility that the person who owes you money doesn't pay you back, right? So again, put very simply, let's say, Krisha, you owe me money, all right? You owe me like $1 million, all right? Mm-hmm. And then I start noticing, damn, this Krisha girl, she's not been like busting her ass off anymore. I lent her all this money, but I see, and other people aren't noticing it, but because I have insider information by living with her, she's like going out clubbing all the time. She's like drinking. She's stopped reading books. She's like reading not magazines, and I'm like, I don't have any faith in her anymore, right? So I want to hedge against the fact that she won't do well and she won't pay me back. So I go up to Julian. I'm like, hey, Julian, you know that Krisha girl. I'm holding this bond that is deliverable by her. Are you willing to take on the risk of her not paying me back, and I will pay you for that, right? So basically, Julian would be saying, okay, you know what? I think Krisha is a good girl. I think she's very, very likely to pay back that loan. So yeah, if Sean's willing to pay me a monthly sum, or monthly amount, or yearly amount, while Krisha, just as long as Krisha does not default on the loan to Sean, I'm willing to take that risk. I'm willing to take that risk because Krisha is good for the money. Okay, but then if Krisha actually does not pay me back and defaults, well, Julian has to pay me the money that she owes me. So that's a credit default risk swap, right? That's basically me swapping that credit default risk. So that's what Greg Foss is saying, that Bitcoin is essentially a credit default risk swap on sovereign nations defaulting. On sovereign nations defaulting, right? Not just, and by the way, Krisha, one of the biggest holders of MBPS right now is the Fed, right?
Oh.
Right.
The Fed is. Whoa.
So basically, Bitcoin is your hedge, is your hedge against the bond market, or rather the credit market defaulting, or the credit market going to complete crap. Right. Put very, very simply. I tried to explain that the best I could, but it'd be awesome to actually have Greg Foss here and explain that. He's the genius. He's the bond market genius. Yeah.
But it'll be very, very interesting to watch this play out, because if for whatever reason, Bitcoin actually proves to be the hedge against the bond market crashing, or these what is it called again? Mortgage-backed securities actually, basically people defaulting on their loans.
Yeah.
Bitcoin actually proves to be the hedge there. Bitcoin suddenly finds its place in the grand scheme. And this could be everything. Like, you would actually see the rally, we're looking at these freaking crazy 6-figure numbers for Bitcoin. We could very well get up there.
Yep.
Right. And it's not too far-fetched.
Exactly. And people don't understand how crazy things can get. I want everyone to recall the movie The Big Short. That's exactly what he was buying, guys. He was buying credit default swaps, right? He was buying insurance against the housing market crashing. Okay, these aren't loans that he took. Okay, these are loans that somebody else took, and he went and basically was hedging, and he wasn't even, like, unlike the scenario that I posed to you guys where Krisha actually owed me the money, nobody owed him money. He was just paying monthly premiums on somebody else defaulting to someone else. Imagine that, right? He was like, okay, you know what? He went up to Goldman Sachs, he went up to Morgan Stanley, and he's like, okay, you know what? I'll pay you guys a monthly premium, and if Julian defaults to Mork, you guys owe me money. It's amazing, right? The fact that you can do that in the markets is really innovative.
It's like someone else taking an insurance policy on your car or your home.
Yeah.
And in case, like, you meet with an accident, someone else getting a payout.
Yeah. That's a really good
Right?
analogy.
It's like that. It's ridiculous, but that's essentially what it is.
Yeah. So this, Krisha, could explain why we're seeing Bitcoin go up while we're seeing yields go up. We're seeing the dollar go up. Like, the final chart I want to wrap up with, guys, is the scariest of them all, which is why I recommend prudence, especially with leverage. Krisha, I'm looking at Dixie over here, and what does this look like to you? Like, this is a bull flag up against the $100 level, right?
Yeah.
Remember, this is Dixie.
This is
it's a
gonna be
measurement against,
squeezed. Yeah. I think it's gonna be it's gonna be a squeeze on the dollar. I
Aha.
feel like a lot of developing nations they're the ones who's gonna feel the pressure right now, and it goes back to what we were discussing earlier today, right? Earlier in the stream, this whole thing of Dixie rallying, bonds selling off. Like, what is the play here? And I was thinking about this just now, and I'm like, all right, so we know that the Fed, they came out saying that, you know what, they said they're not gonna be buying anymore, right? They're
Yeah.
stopping the whole
Yeah.
easing thing for the time being. We
Yep.
don't know
Yep.
that change course. But now, what does that mean in terms of dollars? I feel like and if people are selling their bonds, that's more dollars getting taken out of basically supply and demand of the
Yeah.
dollar.
Yep.
There's a lot more,
Yep.
there's a lot less supply of the dollar because people are now hoarding. They're either taking it and dumping into equities, but there's a lot less supply of the dollar. So now, basically, international markets out there and other developing nations are looking at that. They're in debt, dollar-denominated debt. Now suddenly they're on the hook to service their freaking loans for these new rates that have come out, and they're like, shit,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can service it at this rate. So now they are now hoarding dollars, and whatever treasuries they have too, they're also dumping that $4.
Exactly.
Right? So now it's just a dollar thing. And the thing is that if this breaks, if this bull flag breaks, it's just going to exacerbate the entire situation.
Well said, Krisha. And what's his name? Brent Johnson, dollar milkshake theory. He's finally going to be right. He called a dollar squeeze all the way back in 2020, the March crisis, right? And yeah, like I'm pretty sure he's really, really happy with what he's seeing over here, provided that we actually break this towards the upside and see the dollar move all the way. Like, this is going to be a squeeze of epic proportions if we take out 103. If we take out 103,
Yeah.
like the last time Dixie actually, when was that? Last time Dixie was living above 103 was 20 years ago, guys. 20 years ago. So,
Jeez.
yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of like crazy, weird things play out. So prudence is going to be.
That was leading into the .com
absolutely
boom,
necessary.
the .com boom and bust. Yeah, Jesus. Oh man, I'm guys. This is not the time where you go, oh, don't go gung ho. All right, don't go gung ho. Like, let the water settle. In my opinion, definitely trade. Definitely trade. If you're new to trading, what you want to do is paper trade and pay attention to the markets, because you never ever get a better learning opportunity than what's going to transpire over the next 1 year, in my opinion. No matter what, you're going to be learning something. If everything goes well, all right, cool, you're going to learn how to trade a bull market. If things go to shit, you're going to be able to learn how to trade that as well, when you do have to trade it with real money. But at the moment, you guys want to be watching out for any gut shots, right? You don't want the market to come and punch you in the gut. So be aware. You need to tighten your abdomen to make sure that you're ready for the punch.
Yeah. It's a lot of weird things happening in the world, like even Saudi Arabia, right? They had like that terrorist attack in the middle of the F1 races or whatever. And they attacked one of their oil facilities there. So if that sort of gets out of hand for whatever reason, I'm not sure. I did get an update on the situation.
I wasn't aware
But
of
if
that.
if that gets out of hand too, that could add another squeeze on oil. Right?
Yeah.
Like there are so many externalities of all of these events that are playing out, and a lot of edge cases that you can't possibly think of every edge case right now, because that's what people are forced to do. Think of the edge cases when all of these random events freaking take place. And they are taking place, and it's the weirdest. We're living in weird times, so prudence is going to be necessary. Always gun for those high probability trades, right? There are going to be times where you don't have to trade, and the hardest part about being a trader, even being an investor, is just sitting tight, doing nothing.
Well said, Krishan.
Sometimes that is the play, to do nothing.
Well said. Alrighty, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up with one final chart, Krisha, on the 3-day time frame. Okay, I'm looking at the dynamic. Again, the Krisha time frame. Let's be specific here with the name of the time frame. The Krisha time frame, guys, on the 3-day, we are looking at the Mango dynamic, and I've noticed that just like how Krisha noticed that the 3-day 200 moving average was the key indicator to be looking at, the 3-day dynamic, the Ichimoku setting, by the way, Ichimoku setting dynamic has been working really, really well. You guys can see that the last time the tempo went off, we essentially went on our run, pulled back down to the dynamic, gave you a retest. So the tempo went off, Krisha, at the right time to basically tell you, oh, actually no, it was on for a tad bit more over here, but then pulled back on over to the dynamic and then ran again, right? Now we didn't have this version of the dynamic back then, so it would have been cool to have it. But at the moment, Krisha, what we're seeing over here is the Kumo, or not the Kumo, the dynamic, acting a lot like the Kumo and twisting thin, really so. And now we're seeing the volatile move through the dynamic, right? We talked about this last week, the twist. And what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that we actually see a run just based on the 3-day dynamic along with that monthly now? Again, Krisha's gonna be like, wait for the monthly time.
I think, okay, how about this? I think Bitcoin still has, even from here, like we're currently sitting at 47.5K. I think at the very least we get up to around that 50K mark. So I'm saying that we do get up there. Like, what does that move from where price is at right now to the 50K mark? That's gonna be a good. I mean, it's not that much compared to prevailing, volatility on the chart. I mean, that's still a good 5% or so. But at the very least, we get there. So we could see continuation from here. I believe that there's Bitcoin. It still has a bit more strength here. So I say we still see a bit more continuation, but it depends on whether or not we actually, see we get the strength in this region that we're looking for. And that, I believe, is going to be determined by the monthly 10. And
I agree.
Even if we close over the monthly 10, we could very well see a pullback. We could very well see that next red candle come all the way down back to 46K. Imagine getting up to $50,000, then another red candle to 46.
I think so. That's a play.
And that could spook a lot of people, right? Like it usually does. That could spook a lot of people. And the worst is getting out of your position.
Yeah. I think that's a play, Krisha.
Critical level. I think so too.
I think that's the leverage
play.
Pullback.
Yeah, I think we see a pullback, not just yet, but I think the pullback is coming, and I think if we do get that pullback, it comes down to a critical level. So it's about not being spooked or not putting yourself in a precarious situation where you're just like, shoot, I can't handle my position. I'm a bit too over leveraged. I'm over positioned. XYZ. I need to get out, right? And you take an unnecessary loss. So it's just about approaching every trade now. Ask yourself, is this a high probability trade? Am I able to sit in this trade without being uncomfortable if price does move against me? Right? So it's about that.
Oh, this monthly is looking so good, Krisha. This monthly is so good. I can see why you're like F everything else, Sean, only the monthly, and we are 3 days from that monthly close. So yes, it's waiting time now. Yep.
Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. Any thoughts? Any questions, guys? Let's take some final questions before we wrap it up.
Ricardo Romel says 50 basis points likely in May. I think another 25, or they may actually say let's hold off till next month before we hike again because of the situation in Ukraine and Russia. Because what you guys need to understand is that. Again, it's my opinion that oil is a tightening force on the market regardless. Like the Fed is in such a tough situation at the moment. Like, how do you tighten into weakness, right? We're seeing weakness in the market. The markets are currently in almost a stagflation sort of situation, right? It's a very, very difficult situation. But the market is clearly pricing in a few hikes. So I think at least 25 basis points, but they may actually say, let's wait till next month. And that's going to be enough reason for the market to actually go a little bit more crazy. Thoughts, Krisha?
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to sort of... we'll have to see how this goes. I think they're going to have to sort of reverse course.
Yeah.
The Fed. I think they're going to have to sort of reverse course. If things get too bad from here, they're gonna have to reverse course, and especially with what the inverted yield curve is showing us right now. Anything happens, they're gonna be forced to turn around, make a Yui.
Bob Harrison is here. How's it going, Bob? It's been a while. He says no background tunes. Maybe it's a bit too low. We reduced the volume a tad bit. Viral videos, hey, wow, don't think I've seen you live this time. Oh yeah, we usually go live a few hours earlier, but decided to push it forward a tad bit more because we get to catch you guys in North America as well. Alrighty. Any final questions for Krisha, guys, before we wrap up?
All coins looking sweet. Bitcoin dominance is doing what? BTC.
I covered Solana in the last live stream. We can go ahead and take a quick update on Solana. Looking good. Looking good. Oh, nice breakout.
Oh, nice.
I'm looking at Sol on the Bitcoin pairing primarily, but I know you guys are primarily concerned with the USD pairing. And yeah, nice breakout over here. Likely going to see a continuation.
Yeah.
We talked about
least to 120-ish.
Very nice. Clean.
Yeah. 120-ish. How about Luna? Luna is a freaking rocket, man. Look at this chart. Jesus Christ.
Let's go check out Luna. What time frame you're looking at, Krisha?
Just a weekly. Just look at this chart. What is this? What's
Ooh, so good. The monthly is probably the strongest chart in crypto at the moment. Look at that monthly.
Yeah.
Monthly made a new monthly close high. That's ridiculous.
So I think they got their hands on $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, right? I think it's done. I think that allocation is in for them.
They're buying 10 billion though, so there's a 9 more billion to go.
That's crazy.
So
Luna. It's looking good. There's a good bull flag play on the daily time frame. Not triggered yet. Something to note: it has not been triggered yet. I think yeah, around 90, 97, 98.
Getting some Cardano. Oh, you're looking for 98 resistance? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 98. I think Luna's gonna have to sort of take out 98.
I think this is just going. This is just going to keep going. It's like the monthly. There's no targets here, man. It's a blue sky breakout, guys. There's no targets on this. Once. Yeah. Let's see Cardano. We looked at Sol. We looked at
Cardano looking good, man. I think Cardano's looking good. I think it had a really strong close. I was looking at the 3-day.
Dude, Cardano is like a.
We could get a pullback though.
Are you looking at the monthly? Look at this. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 freaking red candles. If you guys are Cardano fans long term and you guys believe in the fundamentals, etc., for a lot of you guys, this might be a gift, right? Because this is pretty much a bear market that it went through. Jesus.
So Cardano currently up against the weekly 21 EMA, by the way. So just watch out for how price sort of reacts off that region.
Bearish TK cross. I wouldn't trend trade this. If I believed in Cardano,
range it. These are all swing trades to be had here on Cardano. In fact, not just Cardano, many of the altcoins right now. Until we enforce like the bullish structure that we're looking for, these are all range plays. They're all swing trades.
This is making its way to 150. Cardano on the daily Ichimoku setup, Kushel. Look at that. About just got the bullish TK cross as well. Let's go look at Cardano on the dashboard.
Oh man, beautiful. Beautiful.
Cardano. Volatility is up though, guys. 92. I'd wait for some sort of pullback over here. Trend is long. Switched 7 days ago, so you pretty much had your move recently. 40% move already. Wall is up. So the combination of these two, you may want to wait a tad bit. I want to show you guys, by the way, a trick that you guys can use to decide whether or not you want to be getting into a coin that has just recently switched long. Let's take a look at not TCT. There was something else. ZIL. Okay, ZIL. ZIL is a really good example. Look at the wall, Krisha, on ZIL USDT daily time frame.
It's up 100%. Yeah.
The volatility is 100, and the reversal was 13 hours ago, right? So when you see the vol already at 100, like basically peak to max, and the reversal literally just happened, like within the day, right? Because if we look in the daily time frame, it essentially means that it had a huge move to switch the time frame, or rather switch the trend on this time frame to long. So you want to be a little bit careful over here. You want to wait for the pullback. You want wall to reduce, right? And then you want to trade this considering it stays long, right? Which would mean a break and a pullback. So this is how you guys avoid those false pump breakouts. When you see the volatility be really high and reversals happen very recently, right? So ZIL would be one of those examples. In fact, TCT over here, I just noticed this one, this probably just happened, is another good example, right? We can go ahead and take a look at the chart to see if it matches my thesis. But based on what I'm seeing over here, the fact that vol is at 82 and the trend is not even long, but this trend switched from short to neutral 13 hours ago probably means that we are seeing choppiness in the market with high volatility. Let's go check on the dashboard, or rather on the charts. TCT, right? Firstly, let me switch to TCT, USDT. Okay, there you go. You guys can see, like, it pumped. There was a huge sell-off into it. You can probably see it on lower time frames way better. Yeah, and it's pulled back down to the 21 EMA. And it's trending now on the lower time frames in the 4-hour, but on the daily, it's not trending, right? You can see that close underneath the Tenkin, close underneath the Kijun. So the pump basically had you activating the volatility on the dashboard, but the trend is still, I would say, it's like a weak, double weak TK crossover here, because your red cloud and underneath the Tenkin and Kijun. Yeah, so just a quick example of how to use that. Krisha, thoughts before we wrap up? Bitcoin looking amazing. $47,700. It's going, guys. It took out the high over here. Probably see some resistance.
Bitcoin is Bitcoin is looking good. I mean, you guys have my thoughts. I could keep repeating the same thing. You guys know the levels that we're looking at. Monthly 10, eyes on monthly 10. We close over. Things are looking good for Bitcoin.
Did you guys enjoy this weekly stream, this Monday morning stream? If you guys did, and we get 100 likes before we wrap up, we'll make sure to do one every Monday morning for you guys. So hit that like button. Show Krisha some love. Show me some love. Show Mango some love. John Wolf says, can you check ApeCoin? I was looking at ApeCoin. It's pretty much moving in conjunction with Bitcoin, guys. So yes, it's yeah, I love the name. Even though it's going up in USD terms, I would implore you guys to look at the Bitcoin pairing and understand that's going sideways. So why put on the risk when you can just be in Bitcoin, right? See that? Going sideways against Bitcoin, but if you look at Ape USDT, looks pretty good. Probably wants to test $15. Sorry, $18-ish. Yeah. Had a nice breakout on. It's hard to look at this goddamn wick. Let's look at, I think it's on FTX as well. On FTX, USD, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, if this closes underneath this level over here, likely going to come down to 12, and then likely, if it doesn't and sees continuation along with Bitcoin, likely going to test 18. Yeah. All right, guys, wrapping up now.
Yes, sir.
I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. My name is Sean Dexter, and Krisha joined us today. Krisha, say bye.
Bye, you guys. Ciao. Have a good, rest of the week. And yeah, if there's any other crazy price action on the chart, we will be coming out once again.
It's been spamming Neo. Sorry, there's someone in there that's been talking about Neo, and it's not fair if I don't wrap up with Neo. Yeah, Neo negated the potential head and shoulders that we were looking at, and gladly so, because I do like the chart for a long-term trend play. And yeah, looking good, man. Took out the prior weekly highs, much like Bitcoin, on the daily time frame. Looking good as well. Let's look at the Ichimoku real quick. Bullish TK cross, cloud resistance over here, likely going to take it out. Let's look at the 12-hour. 12-hour, yeah, inching up towards the top of the cloud here, likely going to make its way to $14 on the weekly time frame. We do have resistance at this juncture here. Yeah, Tenkin over there as well. Yep, Tenkin resistance, 21 EMA. Oh, reclaim the 20 EMA, really, really good over there. And finally, let's get the monthly. Is there enough? Monthly looking good, actually. Okay, resistance at 14, though. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Bye.